Welcome to the I Love CVille Show, guys. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us on a Wednesday afternoon in downtown Charlottesville. A lot to cover on today's program, including the sudden, unexpected, and saddening closing of a local business that has, really become a part of a lot of people's lives. And ladies and gentlemen, Liberty Mills Farm announced their closing starting today. This is a popular corn, maize, and pumpkin patch, a business that's been owned and operated by Kent and Evie Woods, a husband and wife, for 16 years. They're 70 and 63 years old, respectively. And they published within the last 24 hours a social media post that I've read a handful of times. If you haven't had an opportunity to read the post on the Liberty Mills Farms Facebook page, I encourage you to do so. It elicited a lot of feelings for me as a small business owner, someone who understands just the commitment and the blood, sweat, and tears, and the focus, the what you give to run a small business, and for these people who are, by all accounts, they've run a business that is reputable and experiential and offered generational type of memories for patrons and customers. For them to go into the vault of feelings and authenticity to relay why they, in very sad fashion, are closing their business is a conversation that we need to have on today's show. The owners of Liberty Mills Farms have indicated that a very small portion of their vast customer base have encouraged, inspired, forced them to close their family brand right before the fall holidays in their busy time. And it's an indication of cancel culture and keyboard warriors having such an incredible impact in today's society due to a dubious social media algorithm that prioritizes cancel culture and keyboard warrior qualities instead of a 16-year history of blood, sweat, and tears. We'll unpack that on today's show, and I'm curious, you, the viewer and listener, what you make of this storyline. I also want to talk on today's program about the University of Virginia, its interim president, and its Board of Visitors rector clapping back, pushing back, calling out Delegate Katrina Callsen and State Senator Cree Change Your Socks deeds. Mahoney and the BOV, in a written letter, flat out said Katrina Callsen and Cree Change Your Socks deeds have misunderstood the agreement the University of Virginia has entered with the Trump administration and the Department of Justice. This is a essential he said, she said that is playing out before the country, much to the benefit and much to the chagrin of the president, who, from my standpoint, wanted to see a dialogue like this continue. The only person here winning is the Trump administration. The University of Virginia is losing. The Board of Visitors is losing. The interim president is losing. State Democrats are losing. Katrina Callsen and Cree Deeds are losing. The only one winning here is the Trump administration, because it's an example of the exerted influence by the president and the influence, what it can do to change human behavior, alter higher education, influence the news cycle. We'll have that conversation on today's show. We'll talk on the program. We're now, 6 days removed from another Virginia election. In the Commonwealth, there's an election every single year here in Virginia. The rhetoric is becoming extremely nasty. The Winsome Earl Sears advertising that's out there is shock jock. The Abigail Spanberger advertising that's out there is equally as shock jock as Winsome Earl Sears. Our 7-year-old child is being spammed on a YouTube algorithm that is tailored for adolescents and children by Spanberger and Winsome Earl Sears, to the point he asked me in the car today, if Spanberger wins, Sears is saying that Virginia and our home will crumble. Why is that, Dad? We'll have a conversation about Virginia running back Xavier Brown, one of the key components in the UVA backfield. He is now out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL. Xavier Brown, ladies and gentlemen, was injured in the Washington State game. He had contributed to Tony Elliott and Des Kitchen's offense every game up to that point. The second leading rusher of the team. He is now done for the season as Elliott and UVA pursue an ACC championship. A lot to cover on the broadcast. The water cooler of content and conversation, the I Love CVille Show. Judah, I'd like to highlight Charlottesville Sanitary Supply, who's had 61 years in serving Charlottesville and beyond. John and Andrew Vermillion are honest, hardworking men. A business that is run by the Vermillions for 3 generations now, a family, the Vermillions, that have called Albemarle County their home for 5 generations. They have an online portal, charlottesvillesanitarysupply.com, where you can order sanitary product, your needs, and have it delivered, in many cases, the day of at no charge. Can't emphasize to you the importance of supporting small business in today's 2025 cancel culture keyboard warrior ecosystem. I'm going to ask you, the viewer and listener, this question. Are we in a society now where the small business owner is more disadvantaged or advantaged than ever before? The Georgia Gilmer is asking you to change the headline that you have on screen when it comes to beef. She says it's misspelled, J-Dubs. It's right. B-E-E-F, she says, and she knows she's being the grammar police. Thank you, Georgia, for that. I want to have this to be an open dialogue, in particular about the Liberty Mills storyline. And I'm going to do something that's a bit unorthodox. I think the big picture headline is the UVA BOV and the fact that the president, the interim president, and the rector of the Board of Visitors is calling out a state delegate and a state senator, and Katrina Callsen and Cree Deeds, basically telling Callsen and Cree Deeds in a written letter that was leaked to the media that they really have no idea what they're talking about. The BOV and the interim president have told Katrina Callsen and Cree Deeds that they've misunderstood the deal the University of Virginia has agreed to with the Department of Justice and the Trump administration. That's the big picture headline that moves the needle. I am going to do something a bit unorthodox, and we will lead the show with Liberty Mills Farms instead. We have lower thirds that we can put on screen. I like to go to the studio camera and weave you in with a 2-shot. And when we weave you in with a 2-shot, I'd like to first set the stage for the viewers and listeners of what's happening. This story has been, this social media post has been shared far and wide. I'm going to go to the Liberty Mills Facebook page, Judah, and I'm going to check the top post on their page to see how many times it's been shared. First, I see that Liberty Mills Farm has more than 17,000 followers, a substantial Facebook following. I see the post from 19 hours ago that's been shared 391 times. It has a like count of nearly 2,000 with more than 463 comments on it. One of our businesses, VMV Brands, is an advertising agency that specializes in digital, in social, and mobile media. We're the best in the region at that niche, and that's humbly, frankly accurate. When I see a Facebook post that has a following of a Facebook page that has a following of 17,000 followers, and a post done 19 hours ago that's been shared 391 times, has 463 comments and nearly 2,000 likes on it, I realize that this post probably has a virality factor of a couple 100,000 unique Facebook page impressions. It went so viral, ladies and gentlemen, this post, that it's become legacy media cycle news content and is leading today's show. In this post done by the owners, who are 63 and 70-year-olds respectfully, and have owned the business for 16 years, it's a 9 or 10 paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 paragraph post, and then Kent and Evie Woods signed the bottom of it. If you have yet to read it, please do. These owners highlight a customer interaction recently at their farm, which is family-owned and operated, located in Orange County, that features flower fields and the country's largest corn maze. An interaction that was maybe nasty at best, perhaps on the borderline of criminal at worst. After this interaction with customers who approached the owners of Liberty Mills Farm, got in their face, physical, allegedly knocking them over with phones that were pushed into their faces, then the customer base chooses to go online and attack the locally owned and operated business with Google reviews. We are left realizing or seeing a microcosm of cancel culture, keyboard warriors, and the negative impact cancel culture and keyboard warriors can have on small business and a couple that's invested 16 years of their life into making an experience for parents and kids, for husbands and wives, for extended family, for date afternoons and date nights, for memories to be made. Mm-hmm. The owners are so fed up with what happened, they said, we are closing, we're done, and we will reevaluate in 2026 whether we're going to open this business again. Judah Wickower, I have a lot to say about this as an owner of a handful of small businesses. I'm very curious of your take first, and then I will offer mine, that I will encourage you, the viewer and listener, to share your thoughts and perspective as well.
I mean, it's tragic that that this happened to them. I think it's a shame that that they've decided that they're just not happy running this business anymore. And I think that's a part of us as a collective whole, not always being considerate, being entitled. I think it's a shame that this older couple had to deal with a group of unruly people who, by all accounts, weren't even drunk. They just didn't like a few things and escalated that into a mess. I from what I've read, one sheriff involved more sheriffs. 3 eventually together asked the people to leave. and as you mentioned, at that point, they started inundating the business with 1-star Google reviews.
1-star Google reviews that were rooted in essentially racism.
They accused racism
of the owners of Liberty Mills Farms, who then had to respond to the 1-star Google reviews by saying, we're far from racist. This is instead what happened. You showed up late to your arrival window,
Yep.
did not follow our protocol and procedure when we held you accountable and explained the hours associated with our business and how those hours do not accommodate late arrivals with set windows. You responded in negative capacity and claimed that we were acting this way because of the color of your skin.
Yeah, more or less.
More or less. Ginny Who has this comment. Her photo on screen. Then you, Judah, offer some perspective. I'll offer some perspective. Viewers and listeners, let us know your thoughts. She says, while the bad actors are usually a small minority, they are incredibly vocal and ruin things for many people and businesses. It is truly draining, even when you are getting paid, but definitely worse in volunteer settings. Yep. She says, I haven't been able to stop thinking about the post since I first saw it. Showed it to my youngest this morning, and she immediately compared it to examples of how she has seen a few very vocal people trying to ruin fun local events. A young teen can see it for what it is.
Yeah.
We live in a society today where the immediacy of cancel culture and the immediacy of cancel culture through a tactic called keyboard warrioring is oftentimes the plan of attack when a paying customer does not get his or her way. And it leads me to ask you, the viewer and listener, this question. Is today's small business owner more advantaged than ever or disadvantaged than ever in business history? You can make cases for both. Advantaged, obvious. Technology is approachable, it's ubiquitous. What we have at our hands with these phones is better technology than the first trip to the moon. More powerful than the first trip to the moon. What we have in our hands can enable a small business and a brand to connect with the thousands, the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands, the millions, the tens of millions if you do it the right way.
As well as responding to bad press in the form of 1-star Google reviews that are clearly engineered to basically serve out someone's disgruntled
MO.
Yeah.
We live in a world where the small business owner can quickly put up an e-commerce store. The small business owner can quickly put up a Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. The small business owner can craft a message and dispatch and syndicate that message to thousands, if not millions of people whenever they want. Mm-hmm. And that is a powerful tool, and it's a tool for the most part, for free. You're watching a show and a platform that involves two guys from 12:30 to 1:30 talk their mind about a local community that has on YouTube 400,000 plus views, on Facebook even more than that, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the social platforms. And it's two guys talking about a community. And we figure out a way with consistency of time and the local content that we discuss and analyze to create a business just around talking and streaming. But we also live in a world in 2025 where the small business owner is extremely disadvantaged. The small business owner is as much expected to run his or her business, the operations, the receivables, the payables, the human resources, the management, the openings, the closings, the inventory, the customer satisfaction. The business owner must also be a content creator. The business owner must also manage his or her digital brand or hire somebody like us to do it on their behalf, has to respond to Yelp reviews, Google reviews, Facebook reviews, Amazon reviews. Expected to be on 24/7, 365, can't have any kind of slip. If they do have any kind of slip of judgment, whether actual or made up, they then fear that the customer they had that slip of judgment, whether actual or made up, is going to rush to the internet and call them a racist. And that's what's happening with Liberty Mills Farm. There's a restaurant in the downtown mall, Maru, the Korean barbecue restaurant, that's going through a world of SHIT right now.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman who I respect tremendously. I hope he hears this, Ty Cooper. I know Ty Cooper. I respect Ty Cooper. I've had many conversations with Ty Cooper. He's been on the I Love CVille show. The Ty Cooper that I know who is claiming on his social media page, on his Facebook page, that has been widely shared, that has gone absolutely viral, that has elicited a response from Maru. Ty Cooper is claiming that Maru absolutely racist to him because of the color of his skin. Guess what? I personally know Ty Cooper, and I would bet you in this particular circumstance that Ty Cooper is exactly right. Ty, I hope you hear this. And why I'm basing this Ty Cooper is exactly right message is because I've had personal interactions with Ty. I know who he is as a man. I know where he comes from. I know what he's about. I know that he's a small business owner. I know that he's not quick to offer commentary like this on his Facebook page because he's a small business owner himself. And now Maru, this restaurant in the downtown mall, is trying to navigate this collateral damage. The owners of the restaurant are navigating the collateral damage of employees being rude, if not aggressive to Ty because he's a black man, which is without question wrong, terrible, awful, should be called out. The owners are in this position because employees were either poorly trained, because employees woke up on the wrong side of the bed, because employees, maybe at heart, they are racist. Who knows? But it's the owners of Maru that are navigating this collateral damage and the devastation it could do to its revenue, its operation, its existence. And that's why I ask you the question, is the small business owner more disadvantaged or advantaged than ever before? I take this Liberty Mills Farm story. You know what I make of the Liberty Mills Farm story, Judah?
What's that?
I see a business in Liberty Mills Farm that has been around for 16 years. I see a business in Liberty Mills Farm that has 396 Google reviews and has a 4.5 average. I see a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Phenomenal Google review standard. I see a business that has 17,000 Facebook followers. I see a business who offers commentary of what happened at their farm that has 200,000 plus eyeballs on their post because of how beloved the brand is. And I'm able to use the eye test, common sense. I'm able to use rationality to determine what happened with these customers who are claiming the owners of Liberty Mills Farms acted irresponsibly, negatively, antagonistically to them because they were not the right skin color. And I'm able to determine by all these KPIs, these key performance indicators, that the Liberty Mills Farm couple did not do this.
Yeah.
That they did not do it. And the Ty Cooper scenario with Maru, there's no doubt in my mind that an employee or employees at Maru wronged Ty Cooper. What further reinforces that statement is Maru apologized in their Facebook post for the behavior of their employees.
Yeah.
With the Liberty Mills Farm post, it was at at its essence, a 70-year-old man and a 63-year-old woman having to fight for their name and their character online. Having to explain to the world, this is who we are as a person and how we're being depicted by one group that individually has tried to attack our digital character by leaving reviews one by one.
Yeah.
Is not just tarnishing our company, our brand, our image, but is hurting us as humans. So much so that we've decided to throw in the towel and close today and not open until next year. And we will redetermine if we're going to open ever again. The country's largest corn maze, and a business that has been providing experiences for customers for more than 16 years. This is a microcosm. These two examples, a microcosm of cancel culture, a microcosm of keyboard warriors. In the case of Ty Cooper, justified. In the case of Liberty Mills Farm, unjustified. And it's a reflection of society and larger whole. And larger whole. A reflection in society and larger whole. One that is no longer willing to offer a second chance. One that is no longer to offer empathy and grace. One that is no longer willing to say, maybe you're just having a bad day. But that one is so quick to attack and to scorn. And of course we are. Look at the UVA Board of Visitors. You have Katrina Callsen and Cree Deeds attacking the University of Virginia. You have the UVA interim president and the UVA rector attacking Katrina Callsen and Cree Deeds. You have the most white-collar, sophisticated professionals in the Commonwealth of Virginia, a school president, a rector of a board of visitors, a delegate, a state senator that are literally, digitally, and verbally fighting for all of us to see, while one man sits in a massive white mansion 2.5 hours away, slapping his knee and chuckling over what's been done and what's been created. UVA is losing in this battle of optics. Katrina Callsen's losing in this battle of optics. Cree Deeds is losing in this battle of optics. The rector is losing in this battle of optics. The Board of Visitors is losing in this battle of optics. Maru is losing in this battle of optics. Liberty Mills Farms is losing in this battle of optics. The customers that antagonized, borderline attacked the 70-year-old and 63-year-old owners of Liberty Mills Farms are losing in this battle of optics. The only person that maybe has gained a little bit in this battle of optics is Ty Cooper, and still, if you read the comment section of his Facebook page, he's facing incredible ignorance and hate from people who are basically calling him a liar. The only person that's won in this entire battle of optics is a second-term president that is so narcissistic, he loves being in the news cycle, whether good, bad, or ugly. Philip Dow, Bill McChesney, I will get to your comments. Janice Boyce Trevelyan, I will get to your comments. Logan Wells Clalo, Jason Noble, Georgia Gilmer, I will get to your comments. Deep Throat, I'm going to get to your comments. John Blair, I'm going to get to your comments. We have legitimately print, radio, and television watching the program, including print from Charlottesville, Crozet, Richmond, and Waynesboro on the show right now. Why would someone want to be the president of the University of Virginia? Why would someone want to be the rector of the Board of Visitors?
Good question.
Why would somebody want to be a small business owner? Sometimes I scratch my head and I know this is like hyperbole, and I know this isn't real, but sometimes this little thing in the back of my subconscious asks this question. What is it, this like evil infiltration into American society that is causing the erosion of humanity and the erosion of goodwill and the erosion of the golden rule in our country? Is this like Russia playing this nasty trick and figuring out a way to infiltrate our humanity and our psyche by causing the divide of America? Is this China? Is this some kind of higher power? Is this Lucifer? Is this Satan trying to go toe-to-toe with the Lord? What's going on? Does anyone put your hand in the air if you're watching and listening to the show and you're asking this question, or you've asked this question in the last 12 months of the calendar year? What is going on with America today? What is going on with Charlottesville today? What is going on with Albemarle County today? In the last month, we've talked about a school board member comparing children to the Ku Klux Klan. In the last month, we've seen customers attack a 70-year-old and 63-year-old couple and call them racist because they felt that the customer service they got at the 70 and 63-year-old's business was far from right. We talk about a society where business owners in downtown Charlottesville are asking local government to help them with what they see is what we all know is a problem with downtown Charlottesville, with the houseless. City Council asks its police chief to present a no sheltering in public place ordinance, no storing your personal belongings in public space ordinance, only to have 100 activists rip apart the chief of police as if he's Thanksgiving turkey and call out the head of the Downtown Lobbying Business Association as if she was Joseph Stalin or Adolf Hitler. And then 5 city councilors watch this all unfold and say nothing about them being the reason the ordinance was presented in the first place. We live in a society where public schools have become political battlefields. Public schools have become landmines for transgender, for DEI, for funding and capturing and maintaining and raising funding and the 6-figure jobs that go with it, instead of what is best with little Johnny and little Jennifer and helping them meet academic standards, reading, writing, arithmetic in the 3rd grade. And do we all chalk it up to, this is the society we live in, where social media and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and Instagram prioritize an algorithm where nastiness and hate and divisiveness is upvoted or pushed forward in the newsfeed? And empathy and kindness and love and goodwill and the golden rule are downvoted or buried in the newsfeed? Did you, viewers and listeners, do you know this? That Yelp, the review platform, Yelp, it's a for-profit business. They have sales representatives that call the business owners that have Yelp profiles. And they tell the business owners that have Yelp profiles that if you want the good reviews that are on Yelp to be positioned atop your Yelp profile so customers can see and read these good reviews and then patronize your business, you have to give us money. And if you don't give us money, we are going to position the bad reviews that are negative about your business atop your profile so potential customers can see the nastiness and not the good. We live in a society where you can get on Reddit. I saw this with a local business owner that we do business with, okay? And this local business owner, he's watching the program. He offers commentary about politics and current events, but his handle on Reddit is tied to the name of his business. And his commentary, which is honest and from his heart, on what is essentially Reddit is what? a bulletin board. It's a digital bulletin board where people can offer a chain of comments on a topic. It's a digital water cooler for people to talk. And 99% of the cases, the commentary is offered anonymously.
Yeah.
Our particular client that we work with, who I know is a good man, I suggest him to other clients and other folks in this community. He is a good person. He offered some commentary, and then immediately Redditors attacked him on social media and on Google. And they hadn't even patronized his business. Is cancel culture and keyboard warrior tactics going to be the end-all and death-all of humanity and civilization? Worse, what's next? What does it metamorphosis into? Do Americans, do Charlottesvillians, Almore Countyans, and Central Virginians, do we eventually say enough already? We are going completely off the grid. We're tired of this. We don't like where things are going? And who's got the courage to lead that charge? I was reading something online. You know, Bill Gates, who is obviously known for Microsoft and being a billionaire and now a philanthropist. You know, Bill Gates has had to eat some crow of late. Bill Gates was one of the flag carriers of climate change. A man who said that our world was going to come to an end because of climate change. He's now had to eat some crow of late, Bill Gates, because he's realized and now has indicated on the record that climate change is not going to have the truly devastating impact that he anticipated it would. Mm-hmm. Is it going to take someone like Bill Gates to say, you know what, social media has gotten to the point, digital has gotten to the point, mobile has gotten to the point, keyboard warrioring has gotten to the point, cancel culture has gotten to the point where me, a leader, we have to put an end to this and say, we're done with this? Amazon, Facebook, Goldman Sachs, they're leading the charge on return to office. They're catching so much heat, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Goldman Sachs, demanding that their employees come back to work or risk losing their job, that they're setting an RTO, return to office, movement in play in America because they have the clout, the influence, the footprint, the platform to change human behavior, even if it's human behavior change that's far from popular. Bill Gates doing that with climate change. He's like, look, I was wrong. It's not as it's still bad, but it's not as devastating as I thought. Who's going to be the leader saying cancel culture and keyboard warrior mentality is the death of Charlottesville, is the death of Central Virginia, the country? You remember Bella's Restaurant?
Yep.
When Doug Muir, our client at the time, made a comment about West Bellamy, made a comment about the Black Lives Matter movement in a Facebook comment. Bella's Restaurant, where Smyrna is now, it was a family-style Italian restaurant. Our firm, VMV Brands, our parent company, the Miller Organization, we helped launch the Bella's Restaurant brand. Logo, website, social media, strategy, market share, consultation, vendors. Here's the playbook. Doug Muir, excellent business person. He made a grave mistake. And he made a mistake. He obviously made a mistake. And he marginalized at a time where our community was racially charged. He marginalized the Black Lives Matter movement. And Dr. Wes Bellamy, who was looking to build a personal, professional, and political brand at the time, capitalized on that mistake. And within 24 or 36 hours, had a Black Lives Matter protest outside Bella's Restaurant that eventually led to the closing of this family-style Italian eatery.
Yeah.
Comments are coming in quickly. You have anything you want to throw in, and then I'll get to viewers and listeners and their thoughts on a emotional Wednesday on the I Love CVille Network. There's a 70-year-old and a 63-year-old right now that are sitting in their home, fearful to leave, looking at each other and asking themselves this question: how have we been labeled a racist by a fraction, less than 1% of our customer base, where over the last 16 years, we've proudly served hundreds of thousands of customers and created experience and memories for kids to seniors alike? Is this what our destined legacy is going to be? And I would imagine when you're 70 years old, your contemplation and consideration of legacy is considerably more significant than when you're 40 years old, 25 years old, 20 years old, because you're much more mindful of what's on your tombstone. Do you want to offer anything, or should I offer comments?
Go ahead with comments.
John Blair's photo on screen. Our interracial family, John Blair says, as well as another family of Asian descent, went to Liberty Mills Farm last year. All of us had a great time. I'm sorry to hear about the closure. The corn maze was an absolute blast.
Nice.
Deep Throat. On Liberty Mills, I was encouraged to see, even on Reddit, that people push back against the complainers. Their review sounded like the ravings of entitled idiots, and the commentary said as much.
Yeah.
Lesson: it ain't 2020 anymore, and people check balances before accepting anyone's race card. Deep Throat's comment. He also says, I will say that the mazes were hard this year, according to my kids. The younger one did it with friends' family, and it took them forever. When our oldest son went separately, he was on notice and looked up how to use the TrainU algorithm, and so he solved it very fast. But he said a lot of people seem lost to the point of frustration. Ginny Who says she asks on a daily basis, if not an hourly basis, what is wrong with our society right now? Derek Bond, an owner of a small business and a man I respect tremendously. You hit the nail on the head, Jerry. It's called sin. And it's the devil leading the charge in our society. Derek Bond, it's the breakdown in society moving more away from God and more toward themselves and what they desire. Philip Dow, you are seeing this issue in the government shutdown. He says he worked with Doug's wife. The Muirs were wonderful people. I know Doug's wife, Valeria. Doug Muir's wife. Both Doug and Valeria, fantastic people that employed a lot of people. He made a mistake in judgment. He was wrong in a racially charged period of Charlottesville to offer commentary about the Black Lives Matter movement. And that cost him his business.
Yeah.
Janice Boyce Trevelyan. I think the bigger issue here is a 70 and 63-year-old felt physically threatened by these folks enough to close a 16-year-old business.
100%.
And that's why I led my commentary with borderline criminal. Think about the concern for personal well-being and safety that would lead a 70-year-old and a 63-year-old couple to close a business of 16 years of tenure.
And not just about them, but they hired teenagers who also felt threatened. Not to mention the fact that, according to the story, according to what I've read, I think largely on Reddit, is that it eventually involved three sheriffs. So this wasn't just a case of a couple of old people feeling threatened by a group of people who got pushing in your face. This was one sheriff's deputy calling for help because he felt uncomfortable.
Conan Owen watching the program, the owner of Sir Speedy of Central Virginia. If you need anything logo application-wise, window decals, signage, direct mail, stickers, lanyards, VIP passes, uniforms, merchandise, anything, Conan Owen and Sir Speedy of Central Virginia are who you call. He says, I've got a real problem with platforms like Google and Yelp allowing anonymous reviews. If you're not willing to stand behind your opinions, positively or negatively, then you shouldn't be able to air them. Also, lots of problems with fake reviews from people who aren't real customers, who just have an axe to grind. They should be required to upload a receipt or provide some other means that they actually patronize the business in question. Georgia Gilmer's photo on screen. The problem with some folks today is they don't want to follow the rules or respect property. They feel entitled. Rules are put in place for many reasons: safety, preservation. It's so frustrating to watch people not follow the rules. Albert Graves watching the program, his photo on screen. Calling someone a narcissist, pedophile, or Nazi is no better way than what any keyboard warrior says, and it all continues to fuel the fires of psychopaths who think they have to go out here and kill the so-called narcissists, pedophiles, and Nazis just because our political views are different. Definitely sad times no matter what side you stand on, and all the name-calling just causes more hatred and division and does nothing to bring us closer as citizens of the community. Albert Graves may be pushing back on some of my commentary. And you know what? I say,
Amen.
Albert Graves, thank you for pushing back on me. Thank you. I respect it. Georgia Gilmer, at Montpelier, patrons we don't know have flocked into our space up against the rail to watch the horses. They are horrible when we politely ask them to leave, and some keep coming back into the space. Comments coming in quicker than I can keep up with on a emotionally charged Wednesday version of the I Love CVille show.
If there's one thing that I think AI will do well, it's I think muting these types of incidents. Once it's grown enough, I think it will help to quickly parse situations like this, where and obviously it's not going to help anyone who was actually there at the time of the confrontation, but in the aftermath, I think with things like Yelp and Google reviews, AI will help to sort through which are hammed up for because of emotion, and which are accurate claims.
And maybe the behavior is trained.
Maybe the behavior is trained?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Maybe the behavior is trained. You think about the students that have matriculated through the University of Virginia over the last few years. What if the students that have matriculated over UVA over the last few years seen firsthand? They saw a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago, less than 3 years ago, a football player kill 3 other football players and shoot 2 others. And then they watched the university do whatever it could to hide the trail of malpractice and the trail of malfeasance and the trail of deceit and the red flags that were present before the mass murder. That's trained behavior. That's UVA showing its students how to act, how to train, how to hide or disguise, or how to smoke and mirror murder. They've watched over the last few years a CEO of UVA Health bully and backroom deal and extort and leverage and white-collar racketeer, the type of tactics you see on the streets of Boston or Philadelphia or Manhattan with La Cosa Nostra, but he's doing it without guns and three-piece suits and brass knuckles and drive-by shootings, and instead he's doing it with white lab coats and stethoscopes, and he's doing it with medical charts, and he's doing it by looking at people and and intimidating them by keeping promotions from becoming reality. And the crazy thing about Craig Kent, and if you really dig deep into this lawsuit, you know there's a piece of that lawsuit in the height of COVID. You look into the paperwork that is readily available online, the lawsuit with the Kenner Prize that's claiming and alleging that Craig Kent and his lieutenants white-collar racketeered the UVA health system for so long and so dangerously that 2 people's deaths are directly tied to their white-collar racketeering. In that lawsuit, there's documentation that you can read where Craig Kent allegedly, I have to use the word allegedly, at the height and peak of COVID, took his immediate family members at a time when there were no COVID tests available and got his immediate family members positioned at the front of the line for the COVID test, and then had the COVID test where his family members were at the front of the line, had the data shuffled and mixed so it did not show that he used his power and influence to get the testing to his immediate family members before other people that were ahead of them. We live in a world where, and this is in the lawsuit, you can find this, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a world where the CEO of a health system allegedly took his immediate family and put them at the front of a line for a COVID test at a time where there were not COVID tests readily available, at a time where his immediate family did not meet the criteria, age, health factors, that indicated they should get the test right now. And then he tried to hide it, according to the lawsuit.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where someone in a position of power is able to flex their muscle or is able to open their bank account and say, I want my immediate family member to get that one kidney over there as ahead of those hundreds or thousands of other people that are waiting for that kidney to stay alive.
You don't think we're there already?
What's the difference? Maybe the behavior is trained, the cancel culture and the keyboard warrior. Maybe the behavior is trained, the University of Virginia, students pepper sprayed by the state police. Who directed that order? Maybe the behavior is trained with the pro-Palestine, the Hamas protests that are going on and how they're handled, or how the Board of Visitors and how the interim president are fighting back and forth with a state delegate and a state senator. And it really puts things in perspective at the 129 marker about an injury to Xavier Brown where he has a torn ACL and he can't play the rest of the football season. I love football. I love Virginia. I love this push to number 15 in the national polls. I love this push to a potential ACC championship. I love the fact that this program is maybe a team of destiny, that they've at the grasp of at the clutch at the brink of losing, they've able to grasp and clutch a victory on the brink of defeat. And they've done it against Louisville. They did it against Florida State. They did it against North Carolina. Goodness gracious, this team seems destined. Even Washington State to get a safety off a fair catch to win a ball game in the final stanza with minutes left on the tick, 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 tick clock. But it really puts things in perspective. Football and number 15 in the country and a run to an ACC championship with a 70-year-old and a 63-year-old closing their business and fearing for their safety and their legacy. And I close by asking you this question. Today, in 2025, going into 2026, 6 days removed from an election, 6 days where we're seeing some of the nastiest of political advertising possible. My kid asking me in the car today, if Abigail Spanberger wins, Winsome Earl Sears is saying that we will go to fall victim to the wolves of Virginia. What does that mean for me, Daddy? That's the ads that are running on YouTube in an algorithm for children. Our 7-year-old, second grade, saying, if Spanberger wins, Sears is saying that we're going to fall victim to the wolves. What does that mean for me, Daddy? 6 days removed from an election, you look at who you have to vote for. You have an attorney general who has, in written word, text message, basically what? Threatened, called for his Republican adversary and opposition to be murdered and their children dying dead in their mother's arms?
More or less.
Right? Right? You have a lieutenant governor candidate that was sextorted by the current governor, threatened with the release of gay photography to tarnish his reputation, to force him to drop out of a race, right?
Yeah.
Is that not right?
Yeah. Yeah, they purportedly had photos that they threatened to release if what, he didn't drop out?
You had on a local election, school board, the winning candidate create a burner account website to tar and feather another candidate, only to have the winning candidate, not even 2 years later, compare students and the school system she represents to the Ku Klux Klan. And when you're left on Tuesday, when you're at Tuesday looking at these polls, because I'm going to bring my kids, my wife and I will bring our kids, because we do every voting every time. And when we're looking at the polls, I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at my ballot and be like, Jesus, this is who I have to vote for. And what I'm voting for is what is the best of two evils. Not which candidate will best lead me, my family, our friends, and our business. I'm going to literally look at the ballot and I'm going to say, which of these two candidates is the least evil?
Far too often that's the case.
And then I will cast my vote. The Wednesday edition of the I Love CVille Show. Judah Wickower and Jerry Miller.